Yeah, there we go. Should be starting.
Heather, who's the friend behind you?
See the Grinch?
Yeah.
One of our employees was the Grinch for our holiday party. And so we got a picture of her and they blew it up because they thought it was funny to have him in
I was
my
gonna say, I hope they're not
office one
saying
day.
you're the Grinch,
No.
Heather.
Yeah,
I'd have to have a
not
few
that.
words with them.
So I didn't realize the Grinch was there until I changed where my computer is, and now everyone's talking about it when I speak. It's funny.
Well, it's a little icebreaker.
It is.
I think we're still missing 5 people, so we'll give it a few more minutes.
Okay.
Sarah, did you send this link to Betsy? Because she might not be able to get on. I don't see her
That's
on
a
here.
good question. Let me check with her.
Might want to just send it over. So Tracy, did I hear you're retiring? Is that the news?
You heard, yep, December 31st.
Keith, aren't you retired? No.
Part-time.
See what happens when you try to retire?
Yeah. Sarah, have you heard from Betsy, and you think we can get started?
Yep, I just got off the phone with her. She's joining shortly. Oh,
All
here
right,
she is.
There she
Perfect.
is.
There we go.
Oh, sorry.
Tracy.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Tracy Walker, the CEO of Journey Found and one of the co-chairs of this committee. Welcome. And the ARPA Advisory Committee meetings are public meetings as defined under the Connecticut Freedom of Information Act and should follow those guidelines. As a public meeting is being held virtually, it'll be recorded and the recording will be made available on the DDS website. Committee members are asked to make a good faith effort to state their name and title each time they speak during the meeting. And if you'd like to speak, just raise your hand and you'll be acknowledged and proceed. There is no public comment portion to this meeting. Members of the public are able to join, watch, and listen only. So with that out of the way, does anyone have any additions, edits, or revisions to the minutes of the March 19th meeting? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Wynn, do I have a second? Shannon, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. And Sarah, you are on with the plans update.
Great. Yeah, it's a pretty quick little update today. I think we're up to 19 total approved plans, with the most recent approval being Marrakesh. Congratulations, Heather. I see you're on the call. We're very excited about that, and we know that there have been a couple other providers that have submitted plans that are currently at the regional review level. So we'll have more details on those if and when they're approved. The number of transitions continues to climb slowly but steadily. We're at about 15 residential transitions that are either all the way through or in progress, and 20-day transitions. And 23 of those total transitions have received that 60-day success mark. So the individual has remained in the service long enough that they've received that success outcome payment. So there's still quite a ways to go. As you know, we've got over 200 total approved transitions, so we're hoping to see some continued progress on that in the coming months. But we do know from various providers that many of those transitions are expected later in the ARPA period. So we're anticipating seeing those in kind of during the remainder of this year and maybe even early in the spring. Any questions on that?
I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Sarah. Sean, the Assistive Technology Eval RFP.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Bannon, Director of the Operations Center at DDS. So I also have just a brief update. So we had 3 providers who were awarded the RFP for the AT evaluations. They have all signed the contracts. They're fully executed. So with an effective date of May 15th, we are doing a little bit of training for our resource management and case management staff, but referrals can start going to the 3 vendors, pretty much right away. Let's see, there's approximately 200, a little over 200 evals total that would be done through this contract. And let's see, it's a 2-year contract. And, that'll include, not just the evaluation, but also ensuring that, the individual and support team are trained on it, ensuring that installation is done. So kind of like the whole evaluation process will be done by these providers. So any questions?
All right, I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Sean. Betsy, Deloitte.
Hello, this is Betsy Bella from Deloitte. We are starting to wrap up technical assistance. There are 2 large group technical assistance webinars remaining. One on the 29th on connecting with businesses for job development. And then one in June. We're still defining the date for that one, but that will be on supporting sustainable independent living, right? We've heard from providers concerns about if somebody's moving from a CLA where they receive room and board support into their own apartment where they're now responsible for rent and food, the challenges there. So talking about some of the programs and efforts that can help to mitigate those issues. And we'll be excited for that. And that'll be also sort of the wrap up. Our contract with DDS does end at the end of June. So we'll also be, we have an inbox where people are requesting technical assistance. We will have an out of office redirecting them to their regional resource administrators, as well as to the DDS ARPA inbox. The exact details of that will be confirmed and reviewed, of course, by DDS to make sure that people are going where they want them to be. And we will be finishing updating sort of a final update of the provider and case manager frequently asked questions documents, so they reflect the latest and greatest, so that people can continue to access. So often the questions we receive are really captured in some of the guidance, but making sure it's up to date and readily available and that folks know where to find it. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to be part of this process, to get to know so many folks at DDS and in providers as we've supported. So we really thank you all for letting us be part of STEP and get to know your system and help be part of such an exciting transformation for so many individuals and the people who support them. Then there are from the technical assistance sessions that have been recently the larger group ones, there are summaries that are available through the DDS provider portal, as well as recordings. So we did switch to recording them since there's been more of an emphasis on presenters. So hopefully if people weren't able to join live, they can still find usefulness either from the summaries or the recordings.
So this is Tracy Walker, Journey Found again. Thank you so much, Betsy, for your participation in this project, in this group. Many, many thanks to you. Are there any questions for Betsy or anything anyone wants to add? Uncharacteristically quiet group today. So Shannon.
I've always got something to say. This is Shannon Jacobino, DDS. I'm Bud's person. I just wanted to say thank you, Betsy. You guys were absolutely amazing. And there's just no question that none of this could have happened without your support. So thank you very much.
I'd just like to echo those statements also, because working with Deloitte the last couple of years have been really a good part of my ending of my career. So I appreciate working with Betsy and Owen and the rest of the support team. So I do appreciate it.
This is Tracy Walker, Journey Found again. Anyone else? All right. Keith or Sarah, did we receive any suggestions for discussion items for today?
Now, I was just going to leave it open if anybody has anything they want to bring up today.
Okay. This is Tracy Walker again. Is there anything? When?
Hi, whenever it's the Archive of Connecticut. I just have a question as to whether we're still going along really just completely according to plan, which would be a wonderful thing, or whether we've learned that there are some hitches. And I guess in particular, I want to point to what's happening with the spaces that people have moved from in order to go to supportive housing or something like that. Are those spaces being filled?
You're just to make sure I understand the question. This is Sarah Oleminek from DDS. Are you asking about kind of with residential providers who may have had folks move on to supportive housing? We've done some initial looking at that, and I believe several of those slots have been filled, but I don't have those numbers on hand. I could bring that maybe to our next meeting and do a kind of a look at who's moved into those slots, how many of those slots have been occupied by a new individual, if that would be helpful.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is Tracy Walker again. What about sort of the other part of Wynn's question in general? You know, are we considering that we're on target as far as the number of transitions, the number of plans? You know, where are we with that?
Yeah, at this point, on the day side, we're over the number. I think the number was 200, and I think we're at 215 now. And on the residential side, we're a bit under. I think we're at 61 off the top of my head. Is that correct? Were you, Sarah?
Yeah, so Sarah Olemanik, DDS. I think there's, you know, two pieces to that. In terms of the approvals, I think we're absolutely very close to where we want to be. In terms of the execution of actually kind of seeing the moves happen, I think it still seems a little bit low, you know, compared to where we had hoped we'd be, but it's also difficult to tell whether we're just going to see a large volume of folks transitioning towards the end of the ARPA period, because there's a lot of prep work that goes into these transitions. So I know of a few cases where providers have communicated to regions that certain individuals are unlikely to transition. But and Keith, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's the case maybe for 5 individuals. I'm not sure off the top of my head if those were res or day transitions, but for the most part, we're still expecting those transitions to take place. And we know that they'll be happening towards the end of the ARPA period. So I think it's hard to know for sure. But we haven't seen drastic warning signs that large numbers of individuals won't be transitioning as planned.
So, this is Tracy Walker, Journey Found again. Shannon, and then Michael.
Mike was before me. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh.
Thanks, Shannon. Michael Beloff, parent and agency board member. You know, this is something that's always been a concern to me, and as long as we're talking about transition of folks from day programs to supported employment. You know, one thing that's always been a concern to me is that we're now having individuals moving from being engaged and active 30 hours a week in a day program in DSO to a point where they're probably only working 1 or 2 or 3 days a week, and therefore having a lot less engagement in terms of their ability to interact with peers, to have skill building and so forth. I just want to confirm that agencies are being encouraged and being funded to help provide supports for those individuals during the time they're not at a job.
This
This
is
is Tracy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean.
Sean Bannon, DDS. So we did make some updates to our funding guidelines. So in the past, you know, someone say an individualized day would only have typically their lawn funding amount for their day program. We did allow for individuals to get up to 30 hours without having to go through URR for individualized day. In addition, the ISE hours that used to be, you know, if you were lawn 1, it was 3 hours, lawn 2, 4, and lawn 3 or above, it was 5 hours. Those have now shifted so that people can utilize their full lawn allocation. So there has been an increase in the number of hours, and we're definitely, you know, aware of, you know, the needs of certain individuals, you know, beyond just their employment services.
And this is Michael again. And again, I think it's real important because if you're trying to encourage folks to go from a DSO where they're getting served 30 hours a week, you have to make sure the individuals are engaged, and that's the way the parents are going to want to look at it. That they're, you know, that they're at their job a couple of days a week, and then they're doing something else, because a lot of these individuals who are DSO folks, they don't have the ideation. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't have the ideation to plan their own free time. And just because they can do a job doesn't mean they can schedule their own time in the same way. And I think it's really important as we're looking at how we're serving individuals that we look to see what we're doing. It's not just let's move them to a job so they can be there. We can pay for 10-hour support versus 30-hour support. It should be what are we doing to support them in a way that makes sense for them from that standpoint. There will be some people, I'm sure, who will not want any other thing and they'll want to hang out at home. But others and families will look to and want to know that their child will be active and engaged during those hours where they had been in the past.
This is Tracy Walker, Journey Found again. Do we have a sense of, for the people that have been in that situation, how many people day program hours have been reduced by this process, and what has happened with them? Is that being tracked?
I think it's something we could look into in terms of what their utilization was before and after. That's not a data collection process that we've been pursuing internally. We kind of look at whether they have moved as part of tracking whether or not they've gone through the process. But I think it's a really interesting question. And we could certainly look into that more at how those hours have changed.
Yeah, this is Tracy Walker, Journey Found again. Yeah, I think that would be really important, if for no other reason, to just possibly take the question off the table if it's not, if it's not an issue, but if it is, it may point to another piece of the system that needs to be more fully developed as time goes on, as part of the planning process. Shannon, then Barry, then Heather.
This is Shannon Giacovino, the DDS on Bud's person. And yeah, just to finish that, I think I would be interested to know if that is being presented to people as an option when they're having these discussions, the option to have those, to continue to have their full sort of lawn allotment of hours, because people might not know to ask for it. And I just want to make sure that if it's available to people, that they're being made aware. So I'd also want to know if that's part of the discussion that's being had with people when they're talking about making these changes. The question I had was about the money that we're getting for ARPA and whether we are on track to spend the money within the time frame that we have to. And if not, if there are any other plans or thoughts about how that money can be utilized so that we're not giving any back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're again on the transition side, it is a little on the slow side. There were many providers that stated in their plans that they were looking to spend the money towards the end. But we as a group have been looking at other ways, or seeing if we can extend the period a bit longer. So we're looking at other options if it does, we don't want to give the money back either, so.
And this is Tracy Walker again. Thank you, Keith. Barry.
Yeah, Barry Simon Oak Hill. So Michael, thank you for bringing that up, but I guess for the record, I also want to be clear that this is as much a public policy statement as well, in that this governor and this legislature have decided to keep flat funding in pay, and our ability to recruit to do the day programming and do the transitions has been highly hampered by a 17 whatever dollar an hour direct care pay rate. And so I have plenty of programming that can happen. I have plenty of empty beds that are there. I just can't fill the slots because of the public policy statement that the governor and this legislature made with this budget that they just passed. So that's really what's hampering us. And so we can, want to have as much quality programming going on as we want, and there's plenty of room for it. We're just highly hampered by, their decision on this budget.
Yeah, this is Tracy Walker, Journey Found again. Yeah, thank you for that, Barry. And it's absolutely, true in the case. And the staffing issue was problematic before this budget came out, but it's made our jobs even more difficult. Along with this, with the fact that there's some in Journey Found as one of them, some providers that some of the things that we're doing are 1 and 2 years off. So after the ARPA funding, we're committed to a supportive housing project in Glastonbury, but that's going to be 2026.
Yeah, this budget absolutely hampers access to services, and they chose to keep it that way with a 0, pay increase this year.
Tracy Walker again. Heather.
Wow, those are 2 huge points that I live every day. So yes, I do see families and people wanting a day program once people are at their jobs for a few hours a day and then needing other things and friend outlets and quality of life things. A few of the South Region providers got together. We visited a place in Massachusetts that has like a drop-in center for people who are employed, but they, are not working maybe on Fridays or Thursdays, and they drop in, and it's actually in a mall, like in a mall and we run a drop-in center for youth in the DCF foster care center and Demas youth, and it really helps with friendships and maintaining activities during the day. And honestly, there's not enough bandwidth to continue. So it goes to both statements. Like if I could just assign a couple of people to work on this with the other organizations, we visited a few different options for that. And I'm sure DDS would work out some kind of pilot to see how that goes. But this is because all of us know that people that are working a couple days a week also need other things to do and wonderful things to do. So, and that we just don't have the bandwidth to set that up right now due to the lack of staffing and people we made commitments to support in day programs and in group homes that we can't get in yet because of staffing. So yes, I think we're all on the same page, Michael, that is a huge need and something to do for people. And unfortunately, the staffing crisis has slowed that down. Sorry, Heather from Marrakesh.
This is Tracy Walker again. Thank you, Heather. Back to Barry.
Yeah, so Heather, you bring up Barry Simon O'Kell. You bring up a good point. I know we run a drop-in center already that's funded by Demas, and it kind of serves that purpose. And so again, it's how you're able to fund it and at what rate in order to do it. So it has a couple of clinical staff at it to have the skills to be running it, but it's funded in a way that it's not, a DSP rate of pay. So, these are all decisions of programming and funding and all that kind of stuff.
Tracy Walker again. Thank you, Barry. Additional comments on this topic or anything new that anyone wants to bring up or discuss? Looks like we're going to get a little bit of time back in our day. Is there anything else before we announce the next meeting date and adjourn for now? All right. Well, once again, thank you so much, Betsy. Our next meeting will be after after June 30th, so you won't be joining us at the next time. So we appreciate your participation, and again, thank you. And our next meeting is July 16th. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Run
Bye,
for the
Betsy.
hills.
Good luck.
You all.
Yeah. Bye,
Bye,
Thank you,
Betsy.
Betsy.
Bye, Betsy. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.